Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the LOL Pro League. $20,000 on the line, and it's all coming down to these playoffs, but with games like RoX.KIS are having, it's going to be theirs sooner or later. Games with teams like Aces High having made it all the way through the playoff bracket with a dominant score. I believe they came off with a flawless 6 wins in a row in the course of the regular season. But we're coming up against RoX.KIS today, really trying Aces' normal season victories with some victories of their own. RoX.KIS with huge lean phase dominance, crushed through game number 1 and are looking to take this best of 3 series here in game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, Aces High, they did go 6-0 in the main season, but one of the games that they won was a default win against RoX.KIS, because RoX.KIS had some issues. And on the flip side, that was the only game that RoX.KIS lost. So now that they don't have whatever issues, prevented them from playing last time, RoX.KIS are showing that they are definitely able to compete with Aces High. And man, last game they were just dominant. They had so many kills, such a huge gold lead, and, pretty much every objective they possibly wanted. I think they got 2 Barons that game, 4 Dragons, all the towers, obviously, and, we're starting to pick some bans. I would be kind of surprised to see Aces, let that Elise through, and they have decided to ban it out. That was unbelievable from Damashka last game. He was, I believe, 6-0 at one point, and just snowballed the early game so hard for them.
And while Elise was there snowballing the game for them, it's like, I feel like RoX.KIS get a prerequisite amount of kills, and then you have to try to limit their champion pool to keep them from getting as many of those as possible. So alright, you take out the Elise, but that does leave up an Azir pick for first pick on RoX.KIS. And what's kind of the secret is that Freeze can actually play that top lane too. It doesn't have to go over to Alex Ish mid. So while we should see an Azir pick, and yeah, no questions asked, you leave the champion open, it's gonna get picked.
Oh, they're hovering over some other stuff. Actually, they go for the Jarvan.
Oh man, Caster's Curse, and
oh no, they're picking it on Aces too. This couldn't have gone worse for you.
Man, alright. Well, we could still
never mind, I
see it
saved you by mentioning it.
They are going to change things around. Looks like Riven, looks like maybe a few other things. However, picking Riven first is almost always a less than optimal idea. Riven does 1 damage type, and even though she's very mobile, you don't want to pick a top lane matchup that your opponents can just counter pick into. So maybe it's Riven, maybe it is that Azir, because I can promise you that Aces High know that if they leave Azir open, RoX.KIS are going to pick it.
Yeah, I mean, RoX.KIS, obviously, like you're saying, they got 2 people who can play Azir really well. And Aces end up, letting it go through. In their first rotation, they picked up Thresh and Kha'Zix. Now, Kha'Zix is someone who, I believe it was actually RoX.KIS a while back in the beginning group stages of LPL we saw get picked up, and we were kind of surprised by that, because it's not someone who really showed up at the beginning of, the preseason as one of the junglers at the top tier. He did really well, though, and we start seeing more and more, so that's going to be a good pickup for Theocles. I'm sure he can make it work. The Thresh pick, I like that, but it didn't go that well last time, letting it go past. It makes sense they picked it up to get it off of Raxo.
I guess that does make sense, and to be fair, Thresh does provide a lot of CC to be able to peel for Holy Phoenix, but that bottom lane got destroyed last game for Aces High, whereas in almost every single one of their previous games, all of which have been wins, by the way, they have smashed their opposing bottom lane. Like, it hasn't really been close in all but one of the games, but now this time around, RoX.KIS actually going to take a page out of Holy Phoenix's bush and say, look, you tried to kill me, or you tried to play Sivir versus me game 1 and it didn't work. Now he's there to show you how it's done.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Holy Phoenix, one of the lanes that we saw him dominating with the most was a Lucian Thresh lane. Actually Lucian Janna, but the most common other lane that we were seeing was Corki Thresh. So it looks like he wants to go for this Corki Thresh lane this time. The problem is that Spell Shield is so good in this lane, like pretty much no matter what you block is a big impact spell. I mean, if you block Flay, that's not ideal for Aces. Probably the best thing for Aces that he could block, but if you block Phosphorus Bomb, that's a ton of damage gone down. If you block the Death Sentence, that's a really big one as well. So I would be kind of surprised to see them pick something so reliant on landing those spells against a Sivir.
super mobile, and it doesn't get a lot more mobile than adding things like Morgana Black Shield to it. It was hovering over there for a second on Raxo, but the idea is just putting as much protection as possible. But being on the blue side means that RoX.KIS will get the first pick, but they will not get the last one. So this will actually be force them to reveal what pick RoX.KIS is going to roam mid. And wisely enough, Aces High have left their mid pick open with a little bit of flexibility. That last counter pick for them will either be the Lissandra going mid versus whatever Alex does decide to get locked in for himself, or could rotate up top lane, and the last pick, like we said, could be that counter pick that Aces High are looking for. But honestly, Aces High's problems and issues did not come from RoX.KIS that game. His Kassadin, sure, it looked strong from time to time, but it was either all about the jungle. Demonko had just an absolutely amazing game, or it was actually about top lane, who dropped down 20 CS, but still came back and worked so well with that double assassin idea.
And they have decided to go for Azir here. So, I mean, RoX.KIS...
All right, I was not wrong. I was not wrong.
RoX.KIS is an absolute god on this champion. It's something that he started practicing pretty much as soon as he came out, as far as I'm aware, like on his personal stream and that kind of thing. He's brought it into his competitive side, you know, very effectively. And I haven't seen him do poorly on this champion, but I think one time. You know, he just destroys with it 90% of the time.
Well, Azir is relatively new and has a lot of very high punishing mechanics to him if you're able to use him effectively. And Azir's kind of like, you know, the next generation of Lee Sin's, where it takes a lot of mechanical ability to be able to play him well. And luckily, he's in the hands of RoX.KIS, somebody who can do just that. He'll be going up against Riosta in the mid lane as Xerath, so a big switch up for both mid laners. No longer about killing, or about, you know, those big assassin Wamo combos. It's going to be a more strategic game this time around for Aces High. We've gone with a very heavy poke comp versus RoX.KIS with a much more aggressive comfort picks. We'll see what happens in game number 2 as we come back with RoX.KIS versus Aces High in the quarterfinal matchup, rather, the LoL Pro League. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the LoL Pro League. My name is Rapid. With me is Sigilus, and we're going to hop into our second game in a row here in the quarterfinal matchup between Aces High, a team from Turkey, and they'll be taking on RoX.KIS, one of the most dominant teams from the CIS region, of course, featuring the all-star mid laner, RoX.KIS. He's made it to Worlds, and he's made it a lot of places that many teams can only dream, but can he make it to the grand finals here of the LoL Pro League? Only Aces High, and one more game stand in his way.
Yeah, I mean, RoX.KIS played really well last game. Talking about him, he did do a very solid job on Kassadin, but I feel like there's a bit of a difference between these two teams, and the difference is that Aces kind of rely on Holy Phoenix, maybe at a push Thaldrun, whereas RoX.KIS, they've shown that it isn't just the RoX.KIS show. You know, Fariz was unbelievably good last game. Damashka, holy cow, man, he just snowballed that early game so hard. and they've got the ability to make stuff happen without just leaning on Alex. So it's going to be really down to how well Holy Phoenix plays this game. He is on Corki. It's a very strong champion. It's a strong lane too, obviously, Corki and Thresh. I want to see something more out of Holy Phoenix this game than I did last time around.
All eyes will be on the bottom lane for Holy Phoenix and Lethelion. Keep in mind, this is not the current roster of Aces High. I believe they just went through a lot of big roster changes. This is actually going to be the previous roster who were playing together, I believe, because they didn't get their sub lists in time. Previous roster, but still, nonetheless, very, very strong individual players. And this is an Aces High roster that actually did very, very well as far as, qualifications, and specifically in the Turkish region. I forget what tournament I was watching them play in, but they looked incredibly strong. Maybe even, the Dark Passage V2. We'll see if we can give them that name. We'll see if RoX.KIS can continue on with what I can only say was a very, very dominant game number 1. Already looking to put on some aggressive advantage as they push up the bottom lane.
Yeah, and this time, one small thing to note is that Holy Phoenix did not accidentally take too much damage from the camp, but actually, Raskin, he's getting collapsed on here pretty heavily.
Man, I don't know what Lethelion's doing. He's going to be forced to flash back out. Those concussive blows delayed only by a death sentence with a Valkyrie right on into Raskin. Phosphorus bump to hit, but another concussive blow is going to land. Now, can Raxo win this fight? I think the answer is yes. Holy Phoenix going to flash back out. Dodges one. Phosphorus bomb in the auto attack. Holy Phoenix! Did not want to finish that Holy with a Phoenix, but damn, that looked good. That's why he's the best AD carry in Turkey.
And this is what I'm talking about as well. I mean, basically, Holy Phoenix, every game we see him in, except for last game, he dominates that lane. This time, he looks on much better form than last game. Starting off with an early kill is definitely going to give him potential to snowball this in his favor, and he is the carry for Aces. They need him to get that position. For now, though, we're going to see a pause. Looks like Holy Phoenix is having some internet issues, so imagine if he didn't.
I was gonna say, man, can I get some lag like that? I want to be able to do that. It was somewhat unfortunate for Lethelion. He got caught out by Rax so early on, so maybe that was somewhat sloppy, but Holy Phoenix cleaning up that fight, it was just perfect mechanics. He really baited Raxo around, waited just until he threw out that Winter's Bite, flashed around it, and was able to pick up the kill with the Phosphorus Bomb. So, yeah, it's just beautiful play by Holy Phoenix, and those were sort of the quote-unquote keys to the game. I hate keys to the game, because it's not like you can say, do this one thing and you'll win the game. No. You'd have to complete certain objectives, but for Aces High, traditionally, when Holy Phoenix does well, they do well as the rest of the team too. So things looking good for them. 2 kills early on, and splitting them even down the middle between Lethelion and Holy Phoenix.
Yeah, and it's not too bad a thing to get one of those kills early on onto your support, especially if someone like Thresh, getting him really tanky, so he can just go in and be the man in the lane and just take all the damage. That's quite useful sometimes as well. So I don't think Holy Phoenix minds too much only getting one of those 2 kills, especially when, if you look over, Raskin didn't actually pick up the kill, so he is not got anything in comparison.
Things to keep an eye on down there definitely is there a lot of aggressive trades going on. But mid lane's where the action's out on to Riasta. Couple more auto attacks. He's going to be going down. Last Ignite's not going to be enough. And Alex Ish almost suiciding to his death there. Alex barely making it out alive, but same situation for Riasta. Coming in is Theocles, but bottom's coming in as well. Raskin continuing to get auto attack after auto attack. Nice dodge of at least 1/2 of that boomerang blade. But just aggressive trading across the map. Overall, we got to keep an eye on to Demonco. Theocles will take him down here. He's 1 more auto attack. But the Flag and Drag combo disjoints the hitbox from Taste Their Fear. So no kill for you, Theocles. Somewhat dejected. He'll walk back to his lane.
That was very, very close to going the other way. Damashka, had he flag and dragged probably less than half a second later, would not have actually escaped there. So really nice timing by him there. bot lane, Lithilian actually landed a really great flay there, but the problem is if you initiate and you don't put down a lot of bursts straight away, the Winter's Bite's going to come back and they can just stun someone up and really mess up your ability to duel in that bot lane. So it's hard, you know, it's hard for Lithilian and Holy Phoenix to get kills in this bottom lane unless Raskin and Raxo actually overcommit to something.
And I think that's a lesson that Raskin and Raxo, the double R lane, learned very early on. It's like, all right, don't go aggressively into that. Holy Phoenix loves the fight, and he's great at those really tight situations, so better just not do that. Now, Death Sentence this time will land on a Raxo. Holy Phoenix, though, is in a little bit of a rough spot. I was expecting, actually, Theocles to come down through the lane, but both junglers just going to back off for now. Theocles does have the advantage of having the Rift Scuttler, giving him that extra move speed. DeMonco actually gonna flay it, or face check into him. He missed his Dragon Standard combo, and Alex Ish, though, will come in here. Might have actually baited him in there. DeMonco should die. Just a little bit too slow. He'll suicide. And just, I thought he was gonna hope that Alex Ish could clear up the kill. But a nice move up the lane by Riosta zoned him out.
Yeah, and Riosta coming from that angle meant that there was no way Alexic could realistically chase onto it. This game looks so different from last game, Rapid. Last game, by this point, I think Damashko was probably like 10-1 or something. You know, he was having the game of his life. This game, however, he had to jump away at the last second earlier on to avoid a kill. He just died there. He is not having the same kind of impact on this Jarvan that he did on Pantheon, and really, it's stopping RoX.KIS from winning their lanes as convincingly as they did last time. Top lane, Fareez needs to be careful here.
He does need to be careful. He already used that Blade Surge, but he does have Transcendent Blades if he wants to use that to put some damage right back. He's going to wait to use that on this minion wave so that he can get the maximum amount of that. But I think he's actually maybe waiting for an all-in here. He will have Jarvan coming up from behind. All he needs to do is play this very, very carefully. He's actually out of mana, so he can't use his ultimate. Now, did he bait hard enough? Thaldrun will have a free spell here in just a second, but not necessarily necessary. He's just going to go back to base anyway.
Oh, bot lane, Lithilian face checked that.
Not a good spot, but look at Holy Phoenix. He just walks up into melee range to try to keep Lithilian out of there alive. May not be a great idea because he is going to take a lot of that damage right back, but will they trade right back into this? They don't have any help. They do have someone to heal, and they, oh my goodness, immediate teleport in here. Can they catch out on Lithilian? Oh. There's the Transcendent Blades. One more to pick up the kill with an Equilibrium Strike.
That fight went so badly due to one really big mistake. Whoa, Alex Inch, what happened there?
Wait, where does it go? Okay, yeah, Alex is like, man, I got turrets to protect me. Guess not, as Riosta went very low, got just enough damage down, and then perfect alley-oop to Theocles to pick up the rest of the kills.
Right, so touching on what happened in that bot lane, we saw a flash backwards from Lithilian after he dropped his Dark Passage, but he broke the tether range slightly, so the Lantern came back to him without Holy Phoenix being able to click on it. Then Holy Phoenix, he wanted to commit to the kill with the heal. The problem was that obviously Fareez had the ability to teleport down. Thaldrun on the flip side did not. That was on cooldown. So really nice there by Fareez, just securing a quick double kill. This is going to change the dynamic of this top lane quite heavily. Thankfully for Thaldrun, he was able to get that tower. You know, if he had not had that, I think that would have looked very different. And actually, Theocles, he's coming up here. He might have to change this around.
Yeah, Fareez is pretty dead here. Theocles has more than enough damage than he knows what to do with, and Fareez can try to trade that out, and to be fair, he almost did, but not going to be enough. Bottom lane, there's Lithilian, probably dead here to Raskin. No Winter's Bite to land off after that onto Holy Phoenix, but still a kill for kill traded across the map.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the stealth from Theocles totally saved him there. Fareez has a ton of damage at this point, but it's just not quite enough. And actually, Holy thinks he does get slowed up by the Winter's Bite. They want to go in on this.
Wanting to go in, RoX.KIS never. They get the last stun of concussive blows, and while Rasco almost just face-checked into his own untimely demise, good guy Raskin was there with the damage to pick up the kill off the back of that. So, man, I can't tell which way this bottom lane is going for RoX.KIS, because just as it seems like they're winning it, they lose it, and then they win it back, so it's all back and forth. And actually, speaking of back and forth, Theocles is coming in to try to make it a little bit more in their favor. He's pretty dead here if he lands one more auto attack for the concussive blows, but man, we got ganks mid lane coming in too. Emperor's Divide puts Riosta against the wall with another wall and takes him down.
And actually, Theocles and Thaldrin, they're trying to rotate up here. They've got the back from Lithilian as well. I don't think Alex and Dimashka realize that they're coming in here, but last second being able to get away. I think Alex should be fine here. Actually, he doesn't have boots.
Yeah, should be fine is maybe not an accurate statement. Alex needs to get over the wall. I think he's just going to give up a blue buff here. Thaldrin is coming up behind there, even if he wasn't able to make it, or even if he had been able to escape alive, and Freeze even forced to run back. Really great map pressure here, and the rotational play from Aces High is actually a lot more transcendent than I expected, even more so than Aurelia's Blades, I might add.
Well, I mean, right there, basically Alex not having boots this early kind of bit him in the butt. Normally, you know, being able to use those shifting sands to get away from something would help you out in that situation, but he burned it kind of early on. And he didn't use it to jump over a wall, which I feel like is kind of a mistake. He should have used it to turn left and jump over the wall, maybe get back to Dimashka. Maybe Freeze should have backed up earlier on to try and help him out. They kind of stranded Alex Ich in no man's land there. I'm not sure that was the best team play from RoX.KIS.
At this point, I'm trying to find a reason why Alex isn't roaming more, but I believe that it's mostly up to Riosta, who honestly we haven't been talking all that much about. He really hasn't done all that much this game. He's 0-1 and 0 with no killer assist count to his name. He's been shoving up that mid lane over and over again, and that really does keep Alex in his lanes. So I guess if you can't beat them, then you might as well keep them in your lane killing minions instead of keeping them in other lanes killing champions.
Yeah, especially if you're in a situation where you don't actually have boots. It's going to be hard to roam around and do stuff. And now bot lane, it looks like they want to go in. Oh man,
going down bottom, Lothalia, and one more auto attack. It's actually just going to be the auto from Raxo to take him down. Now TP down bottom there. We're going to see Raxon come in. They're looking for a kill onto him, but he is not going anywhere but down. He does trade that. Wait, oh my. Okay, all right. I'll take it. 1-for-1 exchange underneath the turret. Raxon somehow coming out of there with a kill. I want to say that's more on Thaldrin for going just a little bit too deep underneath the turret. But a great job by Raxon. I did not think he was going to be able to do that.
Yeah, there's a little bit of hesitation there coming out from Thaldrin. He wasn't sure if he wanted to go for the ultimate onto Raskin or onto Raxo, I think. And when he eventually decided to put it onto Raskin, it was a bit late. Dimashka, he might have gotten dive there, but a nice teleport coming in from Fariz. Now they're going to turn it around here.
Well, will they? The death sentence does land on the Freeze. A lot of poke coming out from what is actually a very heavy poke comp. But the Aces gonna get engaged on there. Lothalion is pretty dead. Alex Ich gonna take him down for his second kill of the game. The re-engage, the dunk down. Demako very, very manly on in there, but no kill, no death, and that's just gonna be a 1-for-0.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Ich has got such good zone control here as well. He put down those 2 sand soldiers, conquering sands into the backline, and suddenly it was almost impossible for any kind of turnaround to snipe out Dimashka. Now, the siege is going down on the tower. You know, when you've got someone like, oh man, Riosta.
Whoa, they're actually diving that one. It's gonna be Riosta going down. Raxo, great job drawing aggro. And, keeping that dive as safe as it could be. RoX.KIS have over and over again shown a very high degree of finesse with their dives, even early on, earlier than 14 minutes. Just incredibly successful at those. So Aces High, they really cannot count on turrets to save them, because they know RoX.KIS are more than willing to dive because they're so well practiced at making that pay off.
I was really surprised that Riosta decided to stick around there, especially when you've got Alex Itchu. You know, he knew that Emperor's Divide was available. If he got, you know, collapsed on, that was going to be so good at locking him up. Obviously, Xerath has no mobility inherent to his kit, so he was not going to be able to get away from that situation unless he flashed. And also, you know, something we haven't seen much of yet, but is really strong from RoX. They've got great pushing with the Arise being able to do damage to towers. Dragon, can he steal it? He does!
Oh my god, how does he do it? That's gonna be that's steal for Aces High. When you think about Dragon, or for RoX.KIS rather, from Aces High, that's what I meant to say. Last game, it was actually Theocles that stole a dragon from RoX.KIS. Now he's getting a little bit of payback, stealing one back for his own team.
Yeah, and that's obviously really, really good for RoX. They needed to pick up that dragon in order to, you know, remain as strong as they possibly can. Holy Phoenix, he's sitting very far up. Good thing they got Dark Passage to keep him out of there. Holy Phoenix obviously being very used to Dark Passage, having used to play for them, but...
I was gonna say, Dark Passage is actually what's keeping him out of there, but, you know, as it is, we can't quite make as many puns now that he's left the team. But speaking of team names, did you know? RoX.KIS, the ROX is the organization, it's Radical Online Extremist, but the KISS actually stands for Kaspersky Internet Security, their main sponsor.
Ah, makes sense. That's something we see a lot of Asian teams do. You know, you get, or in fact, Russian teams as well. I think, you know, the CIS teams. You used to have Gambit BenQ. That was another one.
BenQ may be a little bit easier to understand just because BenQ, you know, stands for BenQ. But KISS may be a little bit more ambiguous. Also, one thing to note: if you count the turrets out there on the map, there have only been 3 turrets taken there by Aces High. There have only been 2 turrets taken there by them, but it shows 3 because Azir turrets, unfortunately, still count as turrets killed. So, still only 2 turrets. So we're just gonna say 2 to 2 and try to remember that.
That was a weird thing in the bot lane whilst you were talking about that. We saw On the Hunt get popped by Raskin for absolutely nothing. They just moved up, kind of scared Holy Phoenix away from the wave. Maybe he missed like 1 CS as a result of it.
You know, sometimes the signal is, it's about sending a message.
Yeah.
You just have to know that they're ready to go in at any moment.
Literally any moment, even moments that make absolutely no sense. And, you know, as a result of this, Aces, they sent Theocles down here. They know that that big ultimate is not available. They're going to try and push, but Damashka's here. Oh, man.
Big knock-up underneath the turret, and look at the damage from Raskin in the back. Now, there is a teleport from Breeze, but he's not going to get there in time. Holy Phoenix is not in a good spot there. He's going to dive a Summoner Heal. Might get him out there. Raxa with a long-range Winter's Bite to take him down over the Dragon Wall.
And Fariz, he's not done yet. He wants to go in on Thaldrin. He might be able to get this if the Glacial Path doesn't go through. Oh, not quite the distance.
Should be pretty out of here. Even with the reset on the minion from Blade Surge, Lethelian was sitting in the area. Give Thaldrin the escape. And Thaldrin had a lot of other escape opportunities. He would have been able to make it back underneath the
Whoa,
turret,
mid lane,
so.
Alex.
Gotta look at the Alex damage. One more auto attack, and it's able to pick up a kill onto Riosta, who, for some reason, is that close to Alex East, but it'll donate over a blue buff, and Alex's 4th kill of the game.
Really nice job by him there. He is, you know, we were talking before the game about how good Alex Itch is on Azir. He's one of the few players who really seems to have put the time into learning him since he came out. He obviously is one of the more recent champion releases. And man, every game I see him in, I remember there was one in particular early on in the LPL which he didn't do so well in, but bar that one game, he just dominates every time he gets that champion. On the flip side, look at how poorly Riosta is doing in that middle lane. He is 40 CS down. He is 0 for 3 for 0. And look at the item disparity, too. He has got almost nothing right now.
And the big struggle for Riosta is not only that he's, you know, somehow down in CS as a Xerath who almost one-shots the wave anyway. He picked up a Blasting Wand. The only good item that can fit into is a Void Staff. That means he'll probably never get a Zhonya's Hourglass, which means he's going to be dying over and over again. Or if he does go for Zhonya's, he's going to have to like sell a Doran's Ring or try to complete boots. It's a very awkward item build to progress from. So, not too confident in Riosta, but Alex this game, like you said, just having an incredible series. He's already has a stinger for his Nashor's Tooth coming up next, which is the aggressive build. Traditionally, you see Azir's go for a Morellonomicon.
Automata!
Dive through the turret right as it's about to die. There's a knockup. Should be an okay escape from Ryasa, but yeah, like you said, the extra attack speed, the cooldowns, it's all going well in the mid lane for RoX.KIS.
Yeah, and you know, talking about the build that's coming out of Ryasta and the lack of Azanias, I think that is an incredibly big deal this game, because there is a lot of dive potential on the side of RoX.KIS, and there is no mobility on Ryasta this game. He doesn't even have very much going from the way of peel. Holy Phoenix, man. He nearly got popped there, but, I mean, look at the peel that we've got on the side of Ace. You might be able to use Frozen Tomb on whoever's diving onto, you know, your back line. You got the box, you got Flay. That's it. That's not a great deal when you gotta compete with On the Hunt, you gotta compete with Cataclysm, you gotta compete with Flag and Drag, Blade Surge, Braum Ultimate. I mean, there is just countless ways for RoX.KIS to dive in, and a very small selection of ways for Ryasta to successfully get away here.
But if you look at Aces High, they actually have the turret lead. Just kidding, they're actually down 2 turrets because they've killed two Azir turrets. So it's not quite the way that it does look. It's actually, let me count, 1, 2, 3 turrets taken down by RoX.KIS, or taken down by Aces High, to a total of 1, 2, 3 turrets taken down by RoX.KIS. All right, so 3-3, despite the turret differential for now. But Dragon is back up, and you know, it's the objective at hand here. On the hunt, pop a big dunk down, catches 2. Ryasta locked up. Lithilian's just dead, and that's gonna be a 2-0 start to this team fight after a huge engaged Raskin just pushing the go button and slingshotting the rest of RoX.KIS deep into Ace's back line.
And Saldrin just canceled his TP there. He knew that he was not going to be able to make an impact, and I think that was a very good decision. And Ace, they're trying to take this blue buff. They need to be careful that the scrying orbs come out. They have got to back away. There's no way they can go for that right now.
Yeah, no smite here either to take it away, and that's actually going to go to Raskin. Man. A double knockup from a huge Glacial Fissure, but a turret right there to protect Holy Phoenix and Theocles will push RoX.KIS back away.
Man, Alex Each on that Azir is just so good at pushing down towers too. Arise, you know, some people don't realize this is not the primary use of the skill, but it does deal flat damage to towers when you cast it on them. It's one of the few abilities you can just cast on a tower to push it down. And obviously, because it scales with AP, he can kill stuff really quick, especially in the mid game. You know, the percentage of damage that he's doing to towers for his team is fairly high because AP scales a lot quicker than your AD. Top lane, Thaldrin. God, Faris does so much damage. Yeah,
Thaldrin's pretty dead. And the best part about this, oh, the Zanya's Hourglass. Who's going to get the kill? It's Alex Each. Coming in with his 6th kill of the game now. Damaka in a rough spot there. He's going to get pushed back. Last auto attack from Lithilian's going to take him down. But now it's up to Raxo. He's going to flash over that Baron wall. Sniped out. The Baron aggro. One more Baron auto attack. The Rift Scuttler. Auto. No, just kidding. I thought he was gonna. Yeah, if at any point he chose to, like, you know, reach out and touch someone, that would have been the opportunity.
Well, in the meantime, at least Holy Phoenix is doing a good job pushing down the bot lane. He's actually dirty firing behind the tower, letting the minions take that out whilst he clears the wave, so he gets a fatter wave eventually when he gets to that point. Theocles, you know, doing a good job there, but Freeze.
Oh, man, he case-checked into Freeze, who could definitely have killed him, but just didn't react in time. Raskin, it's not a golem, it's Holy Phoenix, he's right there. One more auto attack. Can he pick up this 1-for-1? Yes, the auto attack. Raskin winning the 1v1.
That was very close. If the heal had been on cooldown by Raskin, it would have gone the way of Holy Phoenix. But of course, Holy Phoenix right now, he is not having a great game. This is the 2nd time in a row. You know, at the beginning, it looked pretty good. They got that double kill, but the pressure from the rest of the team of RoX really just solidified their lead in the bot. Raskin 5-2-8 to Holy Phoenix's 1-4-3 just means that, you know, regardless of how good mechanically Holy Phoenix might be, it's hard to win a 1v1 when you are that far behind.
Yep, living up to their name, RoX is saying that this game is theirs, or rather, mine. because you might minerals. But also, they're playing very hard, and you can see that just because of the dive comp once again. There's nothing about this team that it says anything, but we're gonna hard engage on you. And honestly, against the very poke-oriented team comp from Aces High, that's exactly the team that you want to have. So just a team compositional advantage. RoX.KIS ahead even from just the draft stage, and while they have had a few issues, mostly this time from Demonco, that's kind of what you'd expect from a hard engaged comp. Even if the guy going in first dies, his death sets up so many more on the enemy team just from having slowed them down, so they couldn't peel backwards enough. So the 3 deaths on Demonco are actually a lot more impactful than you'd think. Whereas in game number 1, he had a bunch of kills, so it was easy to see that he was making a big impact.
You know, I find the comp a little bit weird from Aces this game. I mean, last game they had a very cohesive comp. It was very well put together. They just never got an opportunity to use it. This game, it's a lot less coherent what they're trying to accomplish, and not only that, it doesn't really work against the comp that RoX picked that well, just because RoX, you know, if you pick a Xerath into a team with this much dive, and you don't have any peel for it, what are you going to do, especially if you're not going for Azanias, which he's not? You know, it's really hard for him to get away. I feel like he picked it just because Alex H went for the Azir in the middle lane, but, you know, it wasn't really enough to make a difference, clearly, because Alex is just too good on that champion.
Alex having a little bit of an interesting item build, like we were talking about earlier. He went for an Athene's Unholy Grail first instead of a Morellonomicon, when he wasn't actually facing all that much aggression. Traditionally, if you're going up against a top lane Lissandra, you want some extra MR because you expect him to come mid and roam mid and dive you over and over again. That actually didn't happen, so you know, it's still an interesting item. Every time I see an Athene's Unholy Grail built, you kind of got to ask yourself, you know, a reason behind that. The Zhonya's Hourglass too is a little bit, let's call it confident from Alex. He's still putting out a lot of damage, which has netted him a lot of kills, so definitely worthwhile item buy overall.
Yeah, I mean, the one cool thing about the Athenes as well is that it's not just Lissandra and Riasta that are going to be putting down lots of magic damage. We actually got the Sork shoes on Corki, so the Rockets are going to be doing a decent amount. The Foster Palm's going to be doing a decent amount. He needs to avoid getting poked down as well, because that's the one scenario where Aces High's comp starts to do some work, is when you've been poked down before you go for a fight. So by having that, it should hopefully help him deal with that kind of a scenario. That said, Morello's Nomicon is just such a great item on an Azir that it is a little bit weird to not see it get picked up.
Morello's Nomicon? What is a Nomicon? Is that like an Nomicon where you just like, eat it or something?
Exactly.
There you go.
Engage here.
Another big one, and Aces High just continue to phase check. They've got a poke comp, but they're using it in melee range. It's not the way it's supposed to work out, and this time, not only does Demonco get out alive, well, Theocles is not, and that's a 4 for 1 is actually Alex Ish, who took a turn on the dive team. We're actually gonna have Holy Phoenix in the back, even without the rest of his team. He's still killing people. I don't know how, but he's making it happen as the only surviving member of that fight for Aces High.
Holy Phoenix, man, that was an incredible escape, because at the very beginning of that, Damashka came in, flag and dragged, and cataclysmed him and I believe it was Lithilian. Right at the beginning, following that, there was a absolutely massive glacial fissure coming out of Braum that locked them up in the choke point. But, you know, somehow Holy Phoenix got away, managed to pick up that kill. It was very nice by him. Raskin, though, I want to talk about what he did in that fight, too. He spell shielded the damage that came out of Thaldrin's ultimate. That was a big swing point. Obviously, Thaldrin, you know, he hurts right now. He hasn't got the most amount of AP I've ever seen, but he does a decent job, and managing to block that definitely helped Raskin to snowball through the fight. He's actually picked up a Banshee's Veil, as well as having that spell shield now, even before he went for his third aggressive item. It's going to be really hard to kill him, and I like this pickup, especially against the large amount of poke coming out of Aces High. Oh, man!
Another big pick possible here. Raxo's just trying to shield things out there, but look at Holy Phoenix. He's off to the side. The lockdown onto Demonco is going to blow him up, and can Raskin be a big enough engage here in the fighter? Big enough source of damage. We're going to jump out, but a follow-up from Fariz is actually going to be able to take out Theocles. The Rockets coming back, and RoX.KIS not going to, you know, chase this one out. A somewhat questionable engage there, and really great positioning that time from Holy Phoenix, just off to the side, got tons of damage off before he was even under pressure.
Yeah, that was a really nice play by Raskin. He came in right as Ace's High started committing to Damashka, and they didn't have vision of Raskin at the beginning of that. So when he came in, they just burned all their cooldowns thinking that they got a catch. They realized they were committing to a full fight, and Raskin with the Banshees, man, he is impossible to lock down and get onto. So that was a very nice play by Raskin coming in at the perfect moment. Fareez, he is in no man's land right now. 3 members trying to collapse with him, but he's so quick with that Trinity Force that no one's able to get there.
Trinity Force, upgraded boots. I don't think he's running move speed, Quince, but he is very, very fast at 436 move speed. 3 dragons also giving him that 5% additional move speed for the team, really helping him make that somewhat great escape.
And look at the rotation here from RoX as well. They baited, you know, to an extent, everyone onto Fareez up near that top side. Alex, he's really low. Needs to be a bit careful over right of the Arcane, I think. You know, that could come out and make his life a little bit difficult. I think RoX are going to have to back off here just because Alex H is so low health.
And back off they will. Maybe a little bit prematurely, but with all the towers and dragons and every objective going on there in that general area, there's no reason for them to be there anyway. They could all be full health and waiting around, but there's nothing to do there. So better to back off, get the items you need. And speaking of items, Alex Ish.
Oh, Riasta!
Oh my goodness, Riasta. Okay, well, I said there weren't any objectives there. Champions, I guess, still count as objectives. And when you're one of the longest range mages in the game, that melee positioning still a little bit questionable. Alex Ish.
Oh man.
We're gonna find this 1v1 versus Holy Phoenix. Misses that Emperor's Divide. Holy Phoenix just dodged almost every single skill. Walks around, Valks over the wall. I think he's out of here, but maybe Alex is the one who needs some extra HP.
Whoa!
3 sand soldiers chasing him out there. Holy Phoenix hits a rocket. The dash in. The soldiers are out, and Alex Ish cannot fight Holy Phoenix.
That was very close, but what was also very close, whilst you were talking about that, was what was going in the top lane. Theocles managed to live on almost no health. The Hex Drinker in the end was kind of what saved him there, and I don't know about this from RoX. Going for a Baron right now is a little bit risky just because you saw Holy Felix down there. Obviously, they committed a lot of their health bars to going on to Theocles and didn't get it, and, you know, Aces are very close to the Baron pit as soon as they get out from their base.
Now, Baron, unsuccessful attempt there, so you kind of got to take, you know, you count your little blessings. It's the little things that matter, and maybe start to build up a little bit bigger. Holy Phoenix was able to at least stall out a fight, split evenly versus Alex Ish, who was much farther ahead. And to be fair, oh man, this could be a little bit rough for Yasuo. We've seen him get caught out over and over again. He's just trying for a blue buff, but not even that is going to work out, and immediately force out his flash.
And this is one of the big issues as well. I mean, he flashes there, doesn't get anything out of it except for surviving. And they don't have good disengage on their team. They don't have any escape mechanisms on Riasta. He doesn't have Azanias or anything like that. When it comes to a fight, he is going to be in deep kimchi, and now Holy Phoenix getting engaged on. Look at the damage coming out of Alex Ish. She's insane.
That's just ridiculous. Big flash over the wall, though. Theocles will be able to jump back into his base, but just look at RoX.KIS. They're continuing to force Aces High back into their base over and over again. Eventually, this is going to mean a dragon, a baron, and more objectives than Aces High can really afford to give away.
Yeah, right now, I mean, one thing I'm kind of surprised by is the vision control coming out of Aces. Last game, they had, you know, decent vision control at the beginning, and then it kind of fell flat. This game, their vision control is kind of only a smattering of wards in their jungle. It's not really showing them the entrances, and they need to be seeing those, because at the moment, they're getting caught because they can only see, you know, rocks once they're already too deep in the jungle for them to really address the problem. So I'd like to see a little bit more vision coming out of Aces High here.
For right now, at long last, the poke composition seems to be coalescing, kind of gelling a little bit more for Aces High. I've kind of figured out how to keep Holy Phoenix off to the side, poking him with rockets. And to be fair, he is absolutely massive with Infinity Edge, Trinity Force, and that BF sword out there. That actually makes a big difference, because when you compare him to Raskin, for a while Raskin was like much further behind, but now actually the scores have evened up. But Holy Phoenix has a much different purpose. He's supposed to stay back, poke things out. Rios is supposed to stay back and poke things out. Well, that becomes very different the more your opponents pick up dragons. They got move speed, they got extra ability to kill turrets, wave clear. It's just all going on their side. And I want to say more than anything else, going in favor, or in RoX.KIS's favor, is Alexish. He's 100 CS up over his lane opponent, and he has the most kills in the game, so or second most next to Raskin 7. So just really impressive to watch him play on a champion that he knows so well.
Oh, Raxo actually taking a lot of damage there. I feel like RoX might have to back out a little bit.
Yeah, they are going to back out, but Ace still won't be in time to save this turret. The Claw is not going to follow up for any engage off of that. Because keep in mind, Aces High is a team that want to counter-engage. They don't want to be the ones starting these fights. They want to wait for RoX.KIS to go in, kite them backwards into a bunch of poke, and then win team fights after wearing them down.
It's hard for them to do that, you know, before Xerath really gets a little bit stronger. 0 for 6, 100 CS down. He's just not putting out the kind of poke that they require at the moment. And this Baron, you know, RoX kind of want to start out, but at the moment they're going for a trap, actually. And man, they're going for it.
Around the corner there, Thaldrin doesn't really know which way to go. Fariz is going to start the damage onto him. He almost just gets blown up. Now, Fariz, you gotta save those, the Transcendent Blades, rather, to try to pick up the kill, but does not find it there. Holy Phoenix trying to kite things backwards. Kill for Alex in the background, and just the immediate blow-up explosion from Holy Phoenix. Rockets kind of malfunctioned there, and they exploded before he shot him, so he's gonna go down. Lithilia instead. Thaldrin narrowly makes it back to base, but this siege top lane is pretty real for RoX.KIS, with not a lot to stop them from taking their first base turn of the game.
You would think that, you know, when 3 of your team are dealing with just Lithilian, basically, you would be able to kill Raskin and Fariz on the side. But the problem is, Raskin, with the Banshee's Veil and the Spell Shield, is at almost no threat against Thaldrin. I mean, Thaldrin there, normally you go up against an AD carry, you just Frozen Tomb them and burst them. If they don't have support from their team, they're just going to die. He couldn't get any spells down on the side there to Raskin, had to run into the jungle of RoX.KIS to base and just try and get out of there safely. First inhibitor going down now. RoX are just so far in the lead. You know, keeping in mind as well that the turret lead, like you were mentioning earlier, is very misleading. Alexich's, you know, self-made towers do also count for Aces High. So, really, I mean, Aces need a miracle right now. They're just so far behind. 10k and most importantly 4 dragons. That would have been 4,000 gold or so on the 4.19 patch.
Yeah, exactly, but unfortunately no longer any gold from dragons, but they do give you a lot of gold in just stat boosts. Another weird thing for me is to see, okay, Death Sentence lands on Demonko, that's a horrible idea. No engage here, but whoa, Holy Phoenix, couple auto attacks from Raskin. Taking him down very low. Like I said, interesting thing as far as the builds are concerned, the Achilles has not evolved his Spike Racks. He's choosing to evolve Spike Racks last, which on a poke comp, you want more AoE slows for higher disengage. The Achilles just does not have that, so that is somewhat unfortunate. Whoa! Denied! Alex Each says no, puts up a block on the scoreboard, but not a kill, surprisingly enough. The Achilles somehow getting out alive, but look at Alex. Alex just like, what on earth is gonna kill him? Nobody able to catch the Achilles, but nobody able to live through Alex Each's incredible damage. He's already up to 617 ability power, and he is not stopping yet.
RoX are just steamrolling through this base. All your Aces High are belong to us right now, and they are just... Look at the damage from Raskin, too! What can you do at this point? I mean, you know, you want to poke and disengage, you just can't, because you can't survive the initial damage coming out of RoX right now.
And survive it, they will not! RoX.KIS in a dominant 2-0 series will take out Aces High, knock them down to the losers match, or losers bracket, to take on Tricked Esports, whereas RoX.KIS will advance to face off against Thunderbot Sparta in the upper bracket semifinals. I believe that is gonna do it for tonight's broadcast as well. So any final words on our last, I guess first and last best of 3 of the night?
My final words would be that Alex Ich, he is a god amongst mortals. That those two games both he played amazingly well, and also mad props to the bot lane of RoX.KIS. I came into this definitely expecting that Holy Phoenix, the all-star AD carry from Turkey, was going to make some serious waves, but Raskin and Raxo did a really solid job of handling that.
Absolutely, and so you really can't say too many more good things about this game. It's been awesome to cast with you, Sigilus, and so I do want to give a big thanks to you for joining me, and of course a big thanks to everyone for coming out and tuning in to watch this. Whether you're a Turkish fan or a fan of the CIS teams or just a fan of League of Legends, thank you so much for tuning in to this English language broadcast of the LoL Pro League. Of course, if you want more information about the LoL Pro League, head over to lolpl.org/results, and that'll give you all the bracket information and everything else you need to know to keep up with the LoL Pro League standings. So thank you very much for watching. That's going to do it for us tonight. Congratulations once again to Alex Ich and the rest of RoX.KIS for advancing to the semifinals. Good luck to them, and we'll get a chance to see them and hopefully you all a little bit later on. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you then.